Well, welcome back to NRM 435 GIS Analysis at the University of Alaska. In this quiz, we've got a line representing the Arctic coastline in Alaska, and we've got the polygon representing the extent of sea ice in August 1984 and the extent of sea ice in 2014. And what we want to do is develop a table of the mean distance in kilometers from all the line vertices the Alaska Arctic coastline is composed of to the closest August sea ice in 1984 compared to 2014. So here is the extent of August sea ice in 1984, and here's the extent of August sea ice in 2014. So basically the extent is shrinking as climate is warming. So our first step will be, for our line of Arctic coast from Alaska, we need to convert that line into all the points the line is composed of. So that will be the tool Feature Vertices. So we'll execute this tool Feature Vertices to Points to get the points that the line is composed of. So here I've zoomed in on our Arctic coastline, and here are the points that line is actually composed of. So the next step is, for each point along the coastline, go out and find the closest distance to the sea ice polygon in 1984 and then also in 2014. So we could do that using several different tools. We could use the Generate Near Table tool. We could use the Spatial Join tool closest. I'll use the Generate Near Table tool in this example. So using the Generate Near Table tool, I created a table of the distances from our coastline points to the closest sea ice in 1984, and a second label, the distance to sea ice in 2014. So the next step will be, we want to know what's the mean distance for the coastline points to sea ice distances in 1984, and then what's the mean distance in 2014. So we can use the Summary Statistics tool to ask that question, and I'll do it in batch mode. So we'll run this tool twice. So if we right mouse click or double mouse click and then right mouse click on the tool Summary Statistics, and then we want to go to batch. So our input table will be our distance in 1984, and I'll name my output table mean distance in 1984, and then our statistics field will be the distance, give us the mean. And then we'll copy this. So copy this, add a row, and then we'll modify our input table. So in this case, it will be not 1984, it'll be 2014. And then we'll modify our output table. So in this case, our output table won't be 1984, it'll be 2014. Then we can execute this Summary Statistics tool twice. The first row is for 1984, and the second row is for 2014. And we expect the mean distance in 2014 to be less than the mean distance in 1984. So we'll open up the 1984 table, and then open up the 2014 table, and then under Table Options, Arrange Table Horizontal. So in 1984, the mean distance was 58,884 meters, and in 2014, the mean distance was 24,798 meters. Okay, the original quiz question was, what was the mean distance in kilometers? So let's add a field to our table for year, and we'll add a field for our tables for kilometers. And then we'll use the field calculator. So for our 1984 table, we've got a short integer field called year. So we'll calculate that to be 1984. And then the mean distance in kilometers from the Arctic coastline to the sea ice will be our mean distance that was in meters divided by, there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. And that's a double precision field because that's going to be quantities. And then the same thing in 2014. We'll have an integer for our year, and we'll calculate that to be 2014. And then for our distance in kilometers, it's going to be the original distance, which is in meters, divided by 10,000 meters per kilometer. So with climate warming, the distance increased as we go from 1984 to 2014. And then the final step, what we want to do is we'll combine these two into one table. So to do that, we can use the merge tool. So then our final table, we have 1984, 2014. In 1984, sea ice was a lot closer to the Arctic coastline in Alaska. And then with climate warming, the August sea ice has receded, and it's about 247 kilometers away from the Arctic coastline on average.